You did not answer my letter.
Because I do not wish to see you.
You hurt me. When do you stop to think about me?
Every moment of every day. I cannot love a maid. And yet, you have taken possession of me.
Bridgerton Season 4 Part 2 trailer just dropped. We finally get to see what happens after that devastating moment between Benedict and Sophie. Sophie's world is crumbling, Benedict is torn apart, and the Bridgertons are about to face one of their biggest scandals yet. If you thought Part 1 was intense, you have no idea what is coming. So let's break down every single moment from this trailer because there is so much more happening than you think. Let's start with the most heartbreaking part of the trailer, because honestly, seeing Sophie walk away from Benedict after he asked her to be his mistress was painful enough in Part 1. But this trailer shows us that the aftermath is going to be even more devastating than we imagined. We see Sophie working at Bridgerton House, trying to keep her distance, trying to pretend that her heart is not breaking every single time she sees him.
Sophie.
Mr. Bridgerton, do you need something?
No. I found it.
And Benedict, oh my god, Benedict looks absolutely destroyed. You can see in his eyes that he knows he messed up, that he knows those words came out all wrong, but he does not know how to fix it. The trailer gives us these quick flashes of him watching her from across the room, and you can feel the tension, the longing, the absolute agony of two people who are desperately in love but cannot be together. And then we hear Benedict's voice saying something like he would give up everything for her, which makes me think that he is finally realizing that status and society's rules mean nothing compared to what he feels for Sophie. But here is where things get really interesting. The trailer shows us a scene by the lake, and we see Sophie painting. Benedict is watching her, and there is this moment of recognition on his face. He is starting to see her differently, starting to notice things about her that do not match with who she says she is.
What is love in the face of society?
I've had quite enough of the demands of society.
We catch a glimpse of a necklace around Sophie's neck, and Benedict's eyes lock onto it. This has to be the necklace she inherited from her mother, the one piece of evidence that proves she is not just a maid, but actually has noble blood running through her veins. And you can see Benedict's mind working, putting the pieces together, realizing that maybe, just maybe, there is a way for them to be together after all. But of course, nothing in Bridgerton ever comes easy. The trailer immediately cuts to Lady Araminta, Sophie's stepmother, and she looks absolutely furious. We see her watching Sophie and Benedict together, and the look on her face is pure evil. She knows exactly who Sophie is. She knows that Sophie was the lady in silver at the masked ball, and she is not about to let her stepdaughter marry into one of the most powerful families in London. The tension in these scenes is unbelievable. You can feel that something terrible is about to happen.
How else am I to be with a woman society has made it impossible for me to be with?
And then the trailer shows us Sophie being dragged away, and there are tears streaming down her face. We hear someone shouting about theft, about lies, about scandal, and suddenly it all makes sense. Araminta is going to accuse Sophie of stealing, to get rid of her once and for all. Seeing Sophie in chains, seeing her thrown into a dark prison cell, is going to be one of the most heartbreaking moments of the entire season. This is the woman who has done nothing wrong, who has only tried to survive in a world that has been cruel to her from the moment she was born. And now she is being punished for daring to fall in love, for daring to hope that she could have something better. The look of absolute devastation on Benedict's face when he finds out what happened is going to destroy us all. We see him running, shouting, demanding answers. And then we see Violet, his mother, and she has this determined look on her face. She is not going to let this happen. She is not going to let her son lose the woman he loves because of some vindictive stepmother's lies. The Bridgertons are about to go to war, and I am here for every single second of it. What makes this trailer so powerful is how it shows us that this is not just about Benedict and Sophie anymore. This has become about justice, about truth, about standing up against the people who use their power to destroy others. We see the entire Bridgerton family rallying together, investigating, searching for evidence, doing everything they can to prove Sophie's innocence. And there is this moment in the trailer where we see documents being spread across a table, and someone says something about an inheritance, about a father who left something behind. This is it. This is how they are going to prove that Sophie is not a thief, that she actually has noble blood, that she has every right to be exactly where she is. The relief, the vindication, the absolute triumph of that moment is going to be incredible to watch. Bridgerton fans, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now because what I am about to share with you is going to completely change everything you thought you knew about Season 4. The Episode 5 trailer is here, and honestly, after watching it, I could not breathe for a full minute. I am not exaggerating, because this is not just another episode. This is the episode where everything that has been slowly building, every stolen glance, every painful silence, every heartbreaking moment between Sophie and Benedict, all of it, is finally about to explode. And I promise you, by the time we get to the end of this video, you are going to feel every single emotion possible. So if you are ready, let us get into it. Okay, so let me just say this first. When the Episode 5 trailer dropped, I watched it at least 7 times back to back. And every single time, I noticed something new, something small, something the show wants us to miss. But we are not going to miss it, because that is exactly why we are here today. From the very first second of this trailer, you can feel that the energy of the show has completely shifted. Everything feels heavier. Everything feels more urgent. Like the story has been holding its breath this entire time, and now, finally, it is ready to let it all out. And I think that is exactly what the writers intended. Because Episode 5 is not just the middle of the season, it is the turning point. It is the moment where every single relationship in the Bridgerton world stops tiptoeing around the truth and is forced to face it head on. Now let us start with what this trailer is really telling us about Sophie and Benedict, because honestly, that is what all of us are here for. And I have to say, watching the two of them in this trailer genuinely broke something inside of me. Because you can see it so clearly. The love is there, it has always been there. But so is the pain, and right now, the pain is winning. After Benedict made that devastating proposal, asking Sophie to be his mistress, which we all know was one of the most heartbreaking moments in Bridgerton history, the distance between them has become almost unbearable to watch. And this trailer shows us exactly how cold and heavy that distance has become. What really got me was the way Sophie carries herself in these new scenes. She is not breaking down. She is not crying in corners. She is holding herself together with everything she has. And that somehow makes it even more painful to watch. Because you know what it costs her. You know how deeply she feels for Benedict. And yet, she is choosing to protect herself. She is choosing her dignity over her heart. And for someone who has spent her entire life being treated as less than she deserves, that choice makes complete sense. It does not make it hurt any less to watch, but it makes sense. And Benedict. Oh, Benedict. This trailer shows us a version of him that we have not fully seen before. He is not the charming, carefree second Bridgerton son we met at the beginning of this season. He looks restless. He looks like a man who is slowly realizing the full weight of what he said and what it cost him. There is this specific moment in the trailer where you can see him watching Sophie from a distance, and the look on his face is not just longing, it is something deeper than that. It is the look of a man who is starting to understand that comfort and love cannot always exist in the same place, and that at some point, you have to choose one over the other. And what this trailer is making very clear is that Benedict is getting closer and closer to making that choice. The tension between them is no longer just romantic. It has become something much more complicated and much more real. Because it is not just about two people who are falling in love anymore. It is about class and identity and what society demands from people like them. It is about whether love is actually enough to survive in a world that has already decided it should not exist. And that is exactly what makes this story so powerful and so painful all at once. But here is what I really want you to pay attention to as we go deeper into this trailer breakdown. Because the Sophie and Benedict story is only one piece of what Episode 5 is setting up. This trailer is quietly dropping hints about every major relationship this season, and some of those hints are so subtle that if you blink, you will miss them completely. Francesca's story is building towards something that is going to change the entire conversation around this season. Violet and Marcus are moving into a place that is going to make you smile through tears. And Eloise, our beautiful, complicated Eloise, is standing right at the edge of something she is not quite ready for yet. So stay with me because we are going to talk about every single one of them. If there is one thing this Episode 5 trailer makes absolutely clear, it is that Sophie and Benedict have officially reached the point of no return. And I do not mean that in a hopeless way. I mean it in the way that great love stories always have a moment where the two people involved can no longer pretend that what they feel is ordinary or manageable or something they can simply walk away from. That moment has arrived for Sophie and Benedict, and watching it unfold in this trailer is both thrilling and completely terrifying. Let us talk about what we are seeing from Sophie first, because I think her journey in this part of the season is even more layered than people are giving it credit for. Sophie is not just a woman dealing with a broken heart. She is a woman who has been forced to confront her own identity in the most brutal way possible. She came into the Bridgerton household carrying a secret, not out of deception, but out of survival. She knew who she was at that masquerade ball. She knew what it meant. And she made a choice to protect herself because that is what she has always had to do. Nobody has ever protected Sophie. She has always had to do it herself. And so, when Benedict looks at her now, with that mixture of love and hurt and confusion, what Sophie is feeling is not just heartbreak. It is something closer to grief. Because she already knows how this world works. She already knows what happens to women like her when they allow themselves to hope for too much. And Benedict's mistress proposal, as painful as it was, only confirmed what she has always feared deep down, that love, no matter how real, has limits. That there are walls built by society and class and birth that even the most genuine feelings cannot always climb over. But here's what this trailer is showing us that gives me so much hope. Benedict is not staying behind those walls. You can see it in the way he moves through these new scenes. He is not accepting the distance between them the way someone accepts something inevitable. He is fighting it, quietly, internally, but fighting it nonetheless. And that internal fight is what episode 5 is going to bring fully to the surface. Because there is only so long a person can love someone the way Benedict loves Sophie and continue to choose comfort over courage. And this is where the blind man's buff scene becomes so important. Because that scene, which we have been hearing about and which this trailer gives us just enough of to completely lose our minds over, is the scene where everything changes. Sophie has her eyes covered. She is laughing with the children, completely unguarded in a way we rarely get to see her. And in that moment, Benedict sees her. Not just Sophie the maid, not just the woman he has fallen for. He sees her as the lady in silver. He finally puts it all together. And instead of that moment being purely joyful, this trailer suggests it is going to hit Benedict like something closer to a shock. Because the realization that the woman he has been searching for since that magical masquerade night has been right in front of him this entire time and never told him is going to bring up feelings that are far more complicated than simple happiness. That anger, that hurt, that flood of questions, all of it is going to pour out. And Sophie is going to have to stand in the middle of it and face not just his questions about who she is, but his questions about why she never told him. And watching that confrontation play out is going to be one of the most emotionally charged scenes this show has ever given us, because both of them will be completely right. Sophie was right to protect herself. Benedict is right to feel hurt, and there is no clean resolution to that. There is only two people who love each other, trying to find their way through the mess that the world and their own fears have made. And then comes Araminta. And if you thought things could not get more dramatic, just wait. Because Sophie's stepmother arriving with the police and accusing Sophie of theft is the kind of plot turn that takes everything that has already been painful and makes it absolutely unbearable. Sophie, who has done nothing wrong, who has survived everything life has thrown at her, is suddenly facing the very real possibility of losing everything all over again. And watching that happen after everything she has already been through in this season is the kind of thing that makes you want to reach through the screen. But this is also the moment where Benedict proves exactly who he is. Because rescuing Sophie is not just a romantic gesture. In the context of this story and this era, it is an act of complete defiance. It is Benedict saying out loud, in front of everyone, that he chooses her. And that kiss in front of Araminta is not just a kiss. It is a declaration. It is Benedict drawing a line in the sand and daring the entire world to cross it. Now I have to talk about Francesca, because honestly, her storyline in this trailer has me feeling things I was not prepared for at all. And I think a lot of people are so focused on Sophie and Benedict right now that they are sleeping on what is quietly becoming one of the most important and most beautifully told stories of this entire season. Can we just take a moment to talk about Violet and Marcus? Because honestly, in a season full of dramatic revelations and heartbreaking misunderstandings and complicated emotions, these two have been the purest, most quietly beautiful thing on screen. And this trailer gives us more of them together, and I am not ashamed to tell you that I smiled so wide watching it that my face actually hurt. Violet Bridgerton has spent so many years being a mother first and a woman second. She has dedicated herself completely to her children, to her family, to the memory of Edmund. And watching her now, watching her allow herself to feel something new and something real with Marcus, is the kind of thing that reminds you why this show matters. Because it is not just telling stories about young people falling in love for the first time. It is telling stories about all the different shapes that love can take, and all the different moments in a life when it can find you. Marcus is exactly what Violet deserves. He is steady, he is warm. He sees her not just as the Bridgerton matriarch, not just as the woman behind all these remarkable children, but as Violet, as a person with her own desires and her own dreams and her own right to happiness. And watching her slowly let herself be seen that way, watching her trust that happiness again, has been one of the most genuinely moving experiences of this entire season. What this trailer suggests about where Violet and Marcus are heading by the end of the season is giving me everything. Because the idea of these two getting their own fairy tale ending, their own wedding, in the same season as Sophie and Benedict is almost too much joy to hold. 2 weddings in one Bridgerton season. I still cannot fully believe we might actually get that. But everything this trailer is showing us suggests that is exactly where we are going. And then there is the beautiful ripple effect of that. Because if Violet moves in with Marcus, which is what a marriage would mean, then Bridgerton house changes. And the possibility of seeing Kate and Anthony come back to that house, of having that family energy we fell in love with back in season 2 return to our screens, is something I did not even know I was desperate for until this trailer made it feel possible. Kate and Anthony moving into Bridgerton house would mean we get to keep all the characters we love. It would mean the world of the show keeps expanding rather than contracting. And honestly, after everything this season has put us through emotionally, we deserve that kind of warmth and fullness. Violet's story this season is proof that Bridgerton has grown into something more than a romance show. It has become a show about life, about all of it, about the love that comes to you when you are young, and the love that finds you again when you have almost stopped believing it could. And Marcus coming into Violet's life at this moment, in this season, feels like the show telling us that it is never too late, that happiness does not have an expiration date,